When Xavier, the young master of the capital, cut off my resources for the third time for his sister, I was truly at a dead end. To raise money, I sold the earrings that my online dating partner gave me. In my plan, I wanted to wear this gift to meet him for the first time. But when the earrings flowed into the auction market, someone saw that Xavier, who was usually neatly dressed in a suit and always aloof and distant, seemed to have lost his composure. He hunched over and questioned, "Why are these earrings here? This clearly is a gift I gave to my lover, Quinn. That endorsement we talked about last time is gone again." Sister Zhu, my agent, pushed open the door and hurried in. I was sitting in front of the dressing table. The eyebrow pencil in my hand was not held firmly and fell down. How many contracts that were aborted halfway have there been in the past 6 months? I can't even count myself. Cosmetics, clothing, and even the most ordinary snacks and milk. For a while, I seemed to have become a joke in the circle. Everyone was talking about me as if I was possessed by bad luck. I must have offended some big shot in the circle at some unknown time. I tore off a piece of tissue and wiped the stain on my hand. "Is it Xavier again?" Sister Zhu sighed, looked at me, and spoke reproachfully. Don't you know that the Liu family has a huge business and can cover the sky here? Can't you bend down, lower your head, and admit your mistake properly?" I didn't say anything, but my hands were tightly clenched together. In fact, I had lowered my head. 2 months ago, my brother was diagnosed with lung disease. An advertisement that could have provided emergency help suddenly changed its spokesperson. In desperation, I had to go to Xavier's house to beg. Who knows? The one who opened the door was the girl who had bullied me for 3 whole years in high school. Yvonne. She tilted her head and smiled brightly and happily. "Quinn? Long time no see. Are you here to beg my brother?" Unfortunately, my brother only recognizes relatives and friends. Not right and wrong. I stood outside the Liu family's villa. That day, I didn't even see Xavier. I just vaguely heard his voice. Yvonne looked back excitedly and asked for his opinion. "Brother." As she kneels down and kowtows to me, "You will give her back the endorsement, okay?" Xavier's tone was cold and clear. "Whatever. As long as you are happy." I took a deep breath, turned around and left without hesitation. Being at a dead end is probably like this. The agent was still holding my wrist and chattering on and on, telling me not to be so stubborn. Sister Zhu is actually very good. Even though she still has a bunch of troubles in her life and work, she hasn't given up on me. Yao, don't be discouraged. Your ability is there. Don't you still have a movie on hand now? Although it's a low-budget one. As long as there is an opportunity, everyone will definitely see your talent. I hummed. But can I still wait for an opportunity? Since yesterday, the text messages urging payment from the hospital have been sent one after another. A surgical cost of 500,000. Where can I raise it? 3. I was holding my phone and staring blankly at the screen when a WeChat message popped up. "Elle, what is baby doing? Why are you ignoring me?" Elle is my online dating partner for 3 years. I added him by chance when I first entered the entertainment industry. At that time, I didn't understand anything. Confused and ignorant. And his father had just passed away. There was no one to talk to in reality. During that period of time, we chatted for a long time every day. We even made voice calls all night without sleeping. Helpless and lonely. But we warmed each other as much as we could. I sighed and thought for a while. Sent a crying emoji. Elle quickly replied, "Why? Is baby unhappy? Who bullied our good girl?" Yes. I met a bad person. I chose my words carefully. I don't know how I offended a big shot. I seem to be in a bit of trouble. Oh, a big shot? Bullying people, right? Tell me who it is and I'll go find him. I frowned. Elle's family background should be really good. Sometimes he will send me 1 or 2 of his own life photos. That is a very luxurious hotel. with some small, delicate foods on the table. This restaurant is very delicious. I'll take you here in the future. I said okay. He immediately replied, good. After I return to China, we will meet. But after he returned to China, I was busy again because of my brother's affairs. I sent a soothing expression, even if L is not short of money. But the Liu family, the largest wealthy family in the north, he can't shake it either. Why should I drag him into this mess? It doesn't matter. I typed a few lines. I can handle it well. Don't worry. L didn't reply. It wasn't until I woke up the next day that I saw a string of unread messages from him. My sister called me last night. She wants to go camping and have a big party for her birthday these 2 days. The signal over there may not be good and we may not be able to get in touch. I really want to introduce you to. You and she will definitely become good friends. At this time, the phone rang abruptly. It was from the hospital. Are you Quyuan's family member? His condition is very bad now, and he needs an operation immediately. The cost needs to be paid first here. I bit my lip, holding the phone tightly, not knowing how to answer. My mind was in a turmoil, constantly thinking about who I can turn to for help. For a moment, I only thought of L. In fact, I have considered borrowing money from him. However, after all, we haven't met yet. Every time he gives me a gift, I will also give him a gift in return. Perhaps the value may not be exactly the same, but every time I will think for a long time. What does he lack? What does he like? I hope our status is equal. But now, he may be my only hope. 5. I bit my lip and still made a voice call. Let's talk about my brother's condition. I think he will understand. The call didn't get through. There was a continuous busy tone on the other side. Only then did I suddenly remember the message I just saw. He accompanied his sister on her birthday. He can't be contacted these days. So what else can be done? Probably really at a dead end. I was aimlessly wandering around in the bedroom. Looking down, I saw a small red velvet box, inlaid with gold edges. Delicate and beautiful. I slowly picked it up and opened it. It was a gift he gave me. Inside was a pair of emerald earrings. Very valuable. When it was sent from abroad at that time, he excitedly typed a lot of words like showing off a treasure. Baby. This was specially bid for by me at the auction. There is only one pair in the world. Just like you are the only one in my heart. When you wear it to see me, I will definitely recognize you at first sight. I wanted to wear this pair of earrings to meet him for the first time. But reason and emotion are in conflict. Things can be redeemed again. If the operation is delayed, the result may be irreversible. 6. I found a jewelry appraiser in my phone contacts. He quickly gave me a message. Coincidentally, there is just an auction recently, and it is exactly what is needed. Speaking of an auction, in fact, it is mainly an exhibition. As long as the jewelry that the organizer thinks is valuable. After signing the exhibition and sales contract, a certain advance payment will be provided to the owner. If it is sold at the auction site, of course it's good. If it fails to be auctioned, the advance payment provided earlier will not be recovered. I asked, can I buy it back after selling it? The person on the other side laughed. This is your business with the buyer. Just contact privately after the auction is over. L didn't lie. The earrings are indeed the only pair in the world. And it seems to have something to do with a certain European nobleman. Therefore, the auction organizer almost immediately agreed. On that day, I was almost constantly on the go, running back and forth on the road, signing various contracts, get the advance payment, ran to the hospital and paid part of the surgical fee. It wasn't until midnight that I returned to my apartment. When I lay down on the bed, I took out my phone from my backpack. Originally, I wanted to take a casual glance, and then close my eyes and fall asleep immediately. Who knows? What I saw was a screen full of 99 notifications and 6 missed calls from my agent. I was directly wide awake and sat up abruptly. There was no trace of sleepiness. 7. Not good news. Seeing that I didn't answer the phone, the agent sent me several long voice messages. The thing that I went to find Xavier a month ago was photographed by paparazzi and exposed on the internet. In the photo, only I can be seen, standing pitifully at the door of someone else's villa worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Ignored and unattended. Sister Zhu sighed several times. You went to him for help because of being banned and having your resources cut off. Right? Alas. At least tell me. Now public opinion has boiled over. Many people think that you may have an unclear relationship with Xavier. It was as if someone was constantly pounding my brain. I felt a headache and nausea. Confused and unreasonable. I clicked into Weibo entirely by instinct. The top trending topic is about me. Actress Quinn suspected of seeking promotion through physical transactions. There are thousands of comments under the topic. And the heat is still rising. Xavier. Is that the young master of the Liu family? The one who can cover the sky in the capital? Is it true? Do they have a relationship? Is Quinn his girlfriend? A canary? It doesn't seem like it. Even if it's a lover. You can't leave people at the door. Yes. She's just trying to ride the wave and cling to him. The Square host is a well-known marketing account and entertainment blogger. He said that journalists have already contacted Quinn and Xavier. But there is no progress. The company on the female side is beating around the bush, saying that they don't know and don't ask about the artist's personal affairs. As for the male side, no one can be found. Don't know where he went. Therefore, the blogger said in a very gossipy tone, neither side clarifies. This matter is very ambiguous. Ambiguous my ass. I don't want to have anything to do with Xavier at all now. Sister Zhu couldn't sleep at this point either. After seeing the message, I replied to her. She discussed with me in the early hours of the morning. You'd better not show up for this matter first. Originally, you are in a weak position in public opinion now. Anything you say is easy to be wrong, and will be regarded as a white lotus trying to seek promotion. It's best to wait until Xavier comes back. The company will come forward and discuss with him, and let him explain and clarify. You then follow up with a statement. With my relationship with Xavier. How could he agree to explain? But my mind was in a mess and I really didn't want to think about it. So I just mechanically replied yes. 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 Sister Zhu sent a bitter smiley emoji. But the problem is that Xavier can't be contacted these days. Insiders within their company said that he went on vacation. During this time, he generally doesn't like to read external news. Wait for him to come back in a few days. I'll tell you as soon as there is news. I threw my phone aside. As soon as my head touched the pillow, I almost immediately fell asleep. Probably I was really too tired. I slept for a long time this time. When I woke up, I still felt weak all over and instead started to have intermittent fevers. It didn't get better until 2 or 3 days later. And at that time, it happened to be the day when the auction started. Speaking of an auction, in fact, from another perspective, it is more like a banquet venue for socializing among upper-class people, celebrities and powerful figures. Many actors in the entertainment industry often hope to take such an opportunity to know 1 or 2 big capital crocodiles. It's good for getting more projects in the future. Although I also want resources. But today, there is still something more important. I want to know if the earrings will be bought by someone. This auction has strict confidentiality measures. After the collection is acquired, the name of the buyer will not be announced publicly. But those who enter the venue can see the appearance of the bidders. Of course. Although in reality, even if I see the buyer, I can't change anything. I thought foolishly. But what if? What if I win a super big lottery in a few days? Maybe I can buy it back. People still have to have a little hope. So early in the morning, I picked a small evening dress and rushed to the venue. There were already quite a few people present. Businessmen, celebrities, media, all are invited to participate. Almost everyone is dressed gorgeously. with delicate makeup on their faces, chatting appropriately. Since I signed a contract with the organizer, naturally no one stopped me. The waiter holding a tray passed through the crowd. I glanced at my watch. There is still an hour before the auction officially starts. This period of time is prepared for the socializing of these celebrities and powerful figures. I was afraid that journalists would be attracted because of the things on the hot search a few days ago. So I found an inconspicuous corner, one to go over and sit for a while. After only taking 2 steps, there was a sudden commotion at the entrance. It seemed that a big shot had arrived. Journalists rushed over as soon as they heard the news and all rushed over, as if they had caught some hot topic. I also became curious and stopped, slightly turned back. In the middle, a tall man slowly walked forward. With a cold expression, he was wearing a dark gray suit and had his right hand in his pants pocket. Those people crowded around were whispering, "This is the little ancestor of the entire Beijing circle. The head of the Liu family. Xavier. Xavier." Hearing this name, I subconsciously clenched my fist. Except for occasionally seeing a few of his photos in magazines and news. The closest time to him was not long ago when I went to his villa. Just a simple conversation or two. The feeling he gave me was really bad. Arrogant. Proud. Cold. Unfeeling. Xavier is still like this at the moment. Facing the microphones held out in front of him one after another. His expression was not good either. Slightly tired and even impatient. And his assistant by his side dutifully helped him deal with the journalists who caught up. The tone was appropriate. "We will hold a separate press conference to announce the cooperation plan. We won't discuss it today. Is there anything you want to buy?" It depends on our boss's mood. It must be tiring to just come back from vacation. It seems that every question has been answered. But it seems that nothing has been made clear. Xavier is even pursing his lips tightly. Didn't say a word. At this time, a journalist wearing the label of a certain entertainment website squeezed up from behind and directly turned on his own miniature microphone. Now everyone around could hear it. "Xavier, I heard that you recently have a girlfriend. She is a female star in the entertainment industry. Quinn, right? As a person on the cusp of the entire Beijing circle. Since Xavier took over the Liu Corporation, there has never been a single scandal. This is also one of the reasons why the gossip between me and Xavier can be so sensational." Now everyone looked at the journalist who asked the question. Some people even silently gave a thumbs up. Muttered in a low voice, "Awesome." This time, Xavier didn't ignore it anymore. He stopped. Slowly turned around. The corner of his mouth slightly pulled out an arc and smiled coldly. "Well, I have a girlfriend. She is an actor in the circle. But Quinn? What kind of rubbish is she? How can she come and cling to me?" The whole scene almost exploded. Xavier only said a few words. But each word seemed to be a hot topic. How could journalists let go of such an opportunity? For a while, they all rushed up. "Can you talk about your girlfriend? Which artist is it? Company spokesperson? Then why did Quinn go to the villa last time?" Xavier was silent for a while. He didn't seem to want to mention his lover's affairs anymore. Actually, it can be understood. After today, there will definitely be a stormy discussion again. Who would be willing to pull their own lover into the whirlpool and even put her name together with another name that they hate? However, rubbish. I still don't know where I offended your Liu family until now. Is it because the boy that Yvonne liked in high school confessed to me? Is it because after she locked me in the utility room for a whole day and a night, I wrote a letter of accusation to the school leader? Is it because I am the only one in the whole class, and even the whole school who dares to resist her young lady's authority? Why? Why am I not wrong at all? But I have to bear all this. My body was faintly trembling. It wasn't until the pain came. Only then did I find that the nail of my right index finger had embedded in the flesh and blood was oozing out. And the interview wasn't over yet. In order to draw the topic away from his girlfriend, Xavier chose me. This dispensable sacrifice. Some people couldn't stand him using such words for women without reason and asked him to change his statement. Xavier's tone was cold, seeming disdainful or ridiculous. As far as I know, Quinn is a snobbish, scheming and annoying woman. Linking her with me can only make me feel disgusted. If you feel distressed, then marry her. Everyone will be happy. 77. I took a deep breath. Still stood still, motionless. At this moment, I was even somewhat numb. I would even think thankfully. Fortunately, Xavier attracted the attention of all the journalists. And in this corner where the spotlight can't reach, no one found me at all. No. There will still be people who remember me. For example, the agent. Sister Zhu just sent me a few messages on WeChat. Apologetic tone. Yao Yao. The company didn't talk well with Xavier. He doesn't bite anyone's face. You. Don't go out recently and don't read the news either. My finger was on the screen. Deleting and revising. I replied with a good. If possible. I actually don't want to be here for a moment. It would be best to disappear on the spot. But the sudden ringing of the bell in the hall reminded me. What was I here for this time? For the earrings. 12. The ringing of the bell is the sign of the start of the auction. Attrains. Meaning wealth and prosperity. After that, there will be a special appraiser who will come up and display today's collections one by one and introduce them. Finally, there is bidding. Raise the hammer. The commotion on Xavier's side finally stopped for a while. A continuous ringing of the bell woke people up. Someone asked, Xavier came here today. Is there anything he particularly likes? There were also journalists who asked this topic before, but Xavier ignored it. At this time, he seemed to be in a better mood and hummed. My sister doesn't like the birthday present I gave her. She said she wants something more unique and distinctive. I can't think of anything, so I just come here and have a look. The mother of the two siblings of the Liu family passed away early, so Yvonne can be said to have been brought up by her elder brother. He dotes on his sister, and is famous in the entire upper-class circle. Also because of this, Yvonne has developed a domineering temperament. Fighting, bullying, drag racing. As long as there is trouble, it is his elder brother who cleans up after her. The group of people around him obviously know this. So in order to get closer to Xavier, they all started chatting. A gift for Miss Liu. Then it really needs to be carefully picked. Unique? It's hard. Hey. I heard that there is indeed a unique collection in this auction. It seems to be. What kind of earrings? The person speaking had a small mustache and wore a pair of glasses. Others called him Engineer Gao. It is said that he is an insider of the auction. He has some first-hand information. Xavier turned his head and frowned. His expression became more serious. Naturally, this made people think that he might be interested in this collection. It seems to have something to do with a certain European royal family. Then, isn't this pair on the display stand it? The next second, the appraiser's voice sounded at this time. This auction item. Emerald and pearl-inlaid earrings. Xavier and I looked in the direction of the displaced and at the same time. However, his expression was much more wonderful. 13. What happened next was beyond everyone's expectation. There was silence on Xavier's side for a while. Then, he slowly walked forward, step by step. It seemed that his steps were difficult and became heavier and heavier. Finally, when he was still more than 10 meters away from the displaced and he stopped. His whole waist bent down. His hands were propped on his knees. And his voice was full of panic and disbelief. Why are these earrings here? This clearly is a gift I gave to my lover. Chaos. Embarrassment. Astonishment. I don't know exactly what kind of mood I was in at that moment. It seemed that I was completely reacting instinctively. I turned around little by little, looking at Xavier being surrounded by people. He seemed to have said something else and even wanted to directly take that pair of earrings. But even though his status in the circle is extremely high, there can't be any mistakes at the auction site. Several security guards in uniforms quickly came over and stretched out their arms to block him outside. The people who were just discussing the earrings a moment ago were obviously stunned at this moment. Finally, Engineer Gao seemed to react. He mentioned, Xavier, is there some misunderstanding here? Why don't you call your girlfriend first and see what happened? That's right. How simple a thing. A phone call can solve it. It's just that when one is overly concerned, even Xavier loses his composure for a moment. He calmed down and took out his phone, repeating, it's nothing. I was thinking wrongly. 14. My phone vibrated. Restlessly and anxiously. I am really glad that there is a fire escape right behind. So I hurriedly left the hall from there. In the dim corridor, no one passed by. Only the emergency light emits a faint green glow. The phone is still ringing. Al's avatar is flashing on the screen, reminding me that those moments that I felt strange before are not coincidences at all. Why sometimes I feel that his voice on the phone is inexplicably similar to Xavier's voice. Why can he easily buy royal jewels? Why when he is out of contact, Xavier is also absent at the right time? It turns out that they are clearly the same person. The boy who coaxed me and called me good girl would also call me rubbish. Slut. Bitch. He will take away all my resources while preparing my birthday present. He will plan to introduce me to his family. And he will also tell me coldly to kneel down to his sister. But I would rather never have known that L who talked to me on the phone day and night. At least, the only trace of warmth I have will not be taken away by others. Yes. Xavier, do you know? You killed my lover. Personally destroyed the little bit of dependence I had left. The phone hung up and rang again. Until the moment it was about to be disconnected. I finally picked it up. Put it next to my ear. At this time, I clearly realized that at this moment, my L is gone. The one talking to me is Xavier, who sees me as having no value at all. His tone was anxious. But I only felt a wave of emptiness in my heart. He said, baby, where are the earrings I gave you? I forced a smile and said as calmly as possible, there has been a major change at home and a large sum of money is needed. There is really no way. It can be said that I am at a dead end. On the other end of the phone, Xavier seemed to heave a sigh of relief. I thought something had happened to you. Or, he didn't finish. And I filled it in for him. You think I don't want you anymore and threw away your gift? Xavier seemed embarrassed and smiled awkwardly. He quickly changed the topic. You said something happened to you. What is it? Can I help? I was silent for a moment. Responded carefully. Do you remember that I mentioned to you the thing about being excluded and framed by a certain big shot? Let's meet. Al, in front of your family and in front of the whole world. I want to hear you say personally that I am your girlfriend. 15. Back in the apartment, I started to pack up all the items that Elle and I had given to each other before. Handwritten letters, postcards, and even some doll handicrafts he sent from London. I put them all in a big box. There is also a remittance check for 40 million. The earrings were photographed by Xavier that night, and with the highest price for jewelry that night. After the matter is over, I will return all these to him. This money has nothing to do with me. However, I originally thought that the person I was going to return it to was Elle. Due to the confidentiality measures of the auction, Xavier's loss of composure over the earrings at the scene did not leak out. Only some harmless minor episodes were posted online by the media. For example, Xavier officially announced that he has a girlfriend, and will introduce her to everyone soon. Xavier stated that he has nothing to do with Quinn. Xavier got angry and pointed out that Quinn is just a rubbish, who wants to seek promotion. I can hardly remember being so popular. The square is so lively. Everyone is watching my joke. Sister, does it hurt to be slapped in the face so hard? From the beginning to now, she hasn't said a word. Is she really going to be a coward? So going to the villa that day was to seek promotion? No wonder young Master Lu called her rubbish. It turns out that she is a mistress, who only knows how to sell her body. While I was looking at these comments with a blank expression, while listening to the voice messages Xavier sent me, he called me baby, said that he was so nervous thinking that we could meet soon, said that he would give me a surprise at that time. I pretended not to know anything and replied, "Surprise. I like surprises the most." At that time, "Can I also give you a surprise?" 16 The reason why the meeting is set in a week is also for my own reasons. I still have to prove that I am not wrong. It is them who are wrong. In the rest of these days, I went back to high school. Found the former teaching director. He is a strict and upright teacher who had criticized Yvonne's style before. The time when I was locked in the utility room by her and almost had an accident. The school was worried about student safety issues and held a meeting for this matter, requiring a strict ban on bullying among classmates. The teaching director even reported the principal for deliberately covering up some students with bad conduct due to money issues. This matter was finally suppressed by Yvonne's father. She seemed a little more well-behaved on the surface. But in secret, she bullied people even more. After I came back, I found the teacher who was unjustly demoted because of this matter, and was about to retire at this time. Got the evidence from that year from her hands, a small USB flash drive. There are several fragmented videos inside. He had white hair. When he sent me out, his back was a little hunched. He said, "Quinn, I know you are not what is said on the internet. But the teacher doesn't have the courage to come forward again like in the past. Can only hope that fairness is on your side." Anyway, I am very grateful to him. After that, I gave the USB flash drive to a reporter we know and trust through my agent. Ask her to, according to the agreement, upload it to the internet in a few days. Xavier said he would give me a surprise. I don't know what he means, but presumably it's mostly those things. Diamond rings, luxury goods, fireworks and flowers. But I never expected. He even invited all his friends. And several famous newspaper media. Just because of the last sentence in my phone call, in front of your family and in front of the whole world. I want to hear you say personally that I am your girlfriend. Just a casually laid trap. He really did it to this extent. He didn't announce this matter publicly. Nor did he tell me. The day before, Xavier just sent me the location on WeChat. In the evening, by a lake at the foot of a mountain. I once mentioned this place to him. When the sun sets, it is the most beautiful. It's a pity that not many people know about it. At this moment, I slowly walked there, step by step. I didn't meet anyone, until I heard the noise and commotion, until the roadside lights gradually lit up, until someone shouted, "Hey, Brother Juan, is someone coming?" 17 So he turned around little by little. Everyone looked at me, looking at the expressions on these people's faces. From smiles and expectations, to stunned, incredulous, surprised and panicked, and even disgusted and angry. It's really wonderful. Someone pointed at me. Isn't this that stupid Quinn? Why is she here? There are basically no people here at this time and place. Disgusting. How come she just happened to pass by? Pass by? I sighed softly. Unfortunately not. Oh, it was your young Master Lu who told me. At this time, Xavier seemed to finally be unable to hold back. He took a long step and took 2 steps towards me, frowning tightly. "Quinn, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Can't you hear clearly?" I picked up my phone. "Do you have to chat online to understand?" I pressed that familiar call button. Almost at the same moment, Xavier's phone rang. He subconsciously pressed answer. Whether it's from the microphone or in front of him, the words that came out were the same. "We finally meet." L? No. Xavier? No. Not L, but Xavier. My L is gone. Realizing this, I suddenly felt so uncomfortable. Xavier's phone fell from his hand. He seemed unable to catch his breath. There was a deep expression of self-doubt on his face. He kept bending over and shaking his head. Finally squatted down. "How could it be you? The person who accompanied me for 2 days and 1 night without sleep after my father died was actually you." Quinn? Father plays too important a role in Xavier's life. Even a mother, a teacher, a boss, an example. On the day he passed away, he cried like a child. I was afraid something would happen. I didn't dare to hang up the phone. The two of us kept messaging each other. We talked about relatives. My parents had an accident in business early on. Later, my brother went out to work and earned money to support me to study. Xavier said, "Your brother is really amazing. He took such good care of my good girl. When we meet in the future, I must thank him in person." 18 I also squatted down and faced Xavier. Yes. Do you remember? During those 2 days. Because I didn't sleep for too long. I bumped my arm. I stretched out my hand. At that time, we chatted for too long. The whole person was extremely tired. I walked and bumped into the cabinet. And the sundries on top fell down. There was a blood stain on the arm. This scar will never disappear in a lifetime. He seemed to finally be willing to look at me directly. Slowly turned his head. From my cheek. To my neck. Body. And moved little by little to this arm. Falling on the scar. Then I stretched out my hand as if I wanted to touch it. But I dodged back. Kept a distance from him and took down the black canvas bag on my back. Inside were the gifts that Xavier had given me before. One by one. All taken out. I said I liked that movie star. And you went to get an autograph for me. I knitted a scarf for you. You must personally make a ceramic craft for me. Oh. And these. We sent dozens of postcards to each other in half a year at that time. Finally. This check. Xavier's lips trembled slightly. His head was very low. Not knowing what he was thinking, he said, "Ayaw." The voice was so soft that it was almost inaudible. I pushed all these things in front of him all at once. "Return it to you. I don't want it anymore. As for those things I gave you, you can just throw them all away. Oh. Right. There is one more. The advance payment given to me by the auction. That money. I will also return it to you. Hundreds of thousands of yuan is certainly nothing to Xavier. I just want to be even with him." He suddenly raised his head. His voice trembled as he looked at those gifts as if they were some kind of terrifying thing. "Why return it to me? What's wrong? If you don't like it. If you don't like it. I'll give you something else." He stubbornly refused to take it. Fumbled around in his pocket in a mess. Finally, he took out a small red velvet box and presented it like showing off a treasure. "Well, I bought it back again. Look. It suits you very well. Put it on. Okay?" We clearly agreed. "You were going to wear these earrings to see me for the first time. Probably no one has ever seen Xavier like this. Fragile and in a mess." I shook my head and threw him a black USB flash drive. Said word by word, "I will transfer that money to you. From now on, we won't see each other again." 19 The content in the USB flash drive is the same as the content we asked the reporter to upload to the internet. They are all photos and videos of Yvonne bullying other classmates in high school. The reason why it wasn't exposed earlier. It is known that with the power of the Liu family, this kind of thing will soon be blocked and there will be no trace left. On the contrary, it may bring some trouble to teachers and others. But now, I suddenly have a premonition. Perhaps Xavier will no longer interfere. The video fermented on the internet for a whole day. And the heat did not decrease at all. People are outraged. Some people even directly mentioned the Education Bureau. Why wasn't this kind of scum dealt with back then? Locking people in the toilet. Forming cliques. Beating people and taking off clothes. Clearly just a little punk girl in society. Who is the girl locked in the warehouse by her? It seems to be Quinn. Damn it. She is so cruel to her sister-in-law. Public opinion reversed overnight. They now call me Yvonne's sister-in-law. Saying that Xavier has been chasing me hard but can't get me. This statement really makes me feel sick. Xavier invited reporters and originally wanted to film the moment when the two of us met as a souvenir. Unexpectedly, everything was ruined. He recorded a video by the lake again. In those 10 minutes or so, he kept repeating sorry. He said he didn't know anything. If I had known that person was you, How could I describe you with such words? Yao. You are not something dispensable. You are unique. A treasure. You said you wouldn't leave me. In the end. He seemed unable to continue. Just with a choked voice. Are you going to leave me like my dad? He pinned that video to the top of his Weibo homepage. The number of visits is huge. Many people mentioned me. Even my agent hinted, why not say something casually? But I only feel that being associated with Xavier is like being associated with something dirty. Which is really annoying. Until the opening ceremony of the new movie. Many media were invited. Someone asked about Xavier, which was unavoidable. After thinking about it, only 2 words came to my mind. Rubbish. Extra chapters. Xavier. The first time I knew Quinn's name was when I was choosing a spokesperson for a product of a subsidiary company. The staff submitted the materials of several artists. Their videos, photos, and background experiences. This kind of thing doesn't need me to show up originally. But Yvonne was supposed to ask me to accompany her to a banquet. But she was late at this time. Just in time. I had nothing to do. So I casually looked through it. To be honest, I am mostly not interested in things in the entertainment industry. But when I saw the last person, I suddenly became a little curious. Seeing me stop, the people next to me hurriedly started to introduce. This person has been in the circle for only a few years. But people in the circle are quite optimistic about her. It is said that she is down to earth, hardworking, and talented. She is a good seedling. Xavier. What do you think? Quinn. I stroked her name. I don't know why. Suddenly there was an inexplicably familiar feeling. Calm and comfortable. Even my mood improved. I took out her materials. Just her. I was almost about to say it. But at this time, the office door was pushed open. It was Yvonne who came in. Brother. Have you been waiting for a long time? She came bouncing over and sat down next to me casually. She picked up the document on the table casually. Isn't this my classmate from high school? Oh. She wants to be the spokesperson for your company. A toad wants to eat swan meat. Brother. Ban her for me. Yvonne has returned to China these days. When public opinion on the internet was boiling, she ran abroad to hide. As before, she wants me to clean up this mess for her again. Remove the hot search and make everything seem like it never happened. All is peaceful. This time, I really don't want to take care of it anymore. She was very puzzled. In the phone call, she asked me, Brother, what's wrong with you? Are you really interested in that surnamed Q? But we are in the same boat. Didn't you also call her a slut and shameless back then? She may not have thought too much when she said these words. But I locked myself in the bedroom for a day and a night. Watching the videos of her insulting and bullying Quinn over and over again. It was like a torture. I said to myself. You see. It's right. You are also one of them. Isolate her. Push her away. And distance her. Xavier. You don't deserve her. How dare I ask for her forgiveness? The memory of the internet is never deep. So after a few months, a friend of Yvonne was going to hold a birthday party. She planned to return to China. But this time, she underestimated the memory of human nature. In the video, she not only bullied Quinn, but also several other students from the same school. One of the girls suffered from psychological problems because of this and dropped out of school early. Now, that student is also unwilling to recall what happened back then. So her mother never knew why. Obviously her child is a good student. But suddenly became like this overnight. Until she saw the video. Yvonne poked her daughter's arm with scissors. And then she understood everything. So after Yvonne returned to China, she followed her for a week. Until there were only the 2 of them left. She rushed up, took out the prepared scissors and stabbed them into her body. Quinn's brother's condition has stabilized. She can now focus on developing her career with peace of mind. After I gave up blocking Quinn's resources, her development can be said to be almost smooth sailing. Originally, her strength is very strong. So soon. She transferred that advance payment to me by transfer. The note was, "We are even." I suddenly felt an inexplicable panic and fear, and immediately called her, only to find that she had deleted me. I tried to find her, but her attitude was extremely firm. "Don't see. I have nothing to do with Xavier anymore. I hope the other party will respect themselves." It wasn't until a film festival award ceremony that I had the opportunity to see her again. She was shortlisted for competition along with many senior predecessors with a literary film that didn't cost much. I was sitting in the audience, watching the host open the envelope, pause, open the lips, then slowly say her name, Quinn. Congratulations. The youngest new actress. She was wearing a red dress. So beautiful. So beautiful that it almost made me want to shed tears. We are finally in the same space again. I really want to take this opportunity to talk to her a few words. But there always seem to be people standing around her, expressing gratitude, socializing, and being interviewed. I was waiting silently in a corner not far away, hoping she could see me. An entertainment reporter who was familiar with me passed by, suddenly stopped and said in a loud voice, "Xavier, you are here too." Many people looked at me in unison. I subconsciously looked at her. It's hard to say. What was my mood at that time? Perhaps with a little expectation. Can you notice me? Another male artist standing beside her looked at me. He was wearing a royal blue suit and was tall and thin. One hand was on Quinn's shoulder. The two of them are the leading actors of this movie. Naturally, they have to meet the expectations of fans for a no-screen combination. But in fact, I have also heard of him. Surname Zhu. The only son of a certain news media tycoon. Not long ago, his family just caught me off guard in a business war, causing me to lose several deals worth hundreds of millions. He looked at me and opened his mouth slightly. Sad in lip language, rubbish. He didn't make a sound, but I knew what he was saying. You don't deserve her. You are the one who should go to hell. Then, he took off his suit, put it on Quinn's shoulder. Finished asking questions? He said to her with a gentle and pleasant voice as he lowered his head and smiled. Let's go to the banquet hall. It's cold over there. Don't catch a cold.